Alright guys, what's going on? We're back with the GR86. And today we're going to go ahead and get this intake in. And then I got this transmission module right here that we're going to go ahead and get put in the bottom of the car. And hopefully fix that transmission problem. So let me go ahead, start getting this air intake in, start getting that transmission module in. And maybe, just maybe, we can take the car for a test drive today. Alright guys, well it looks like the transmission control module that we bought was actually bad, and the other faults were really just causing that transmission error. So I went ahead, got everything replaced. And now when we look on the dash, let me go ahead and close this door. All we got is our warning and our airbag light sensor. I got the brakes on, there's a hill light assist, so we can see headlights disabled, and then the airbag system check owner's manual. Now that is not without all problems. So we actually are having an issue with the car, and from the sounds of it, and I'm sure you can hear it, it sounds like our alternator bearing is bad. So this right here has been making a loud racket the entire time. As you can hear, it's starting to get louder, which means that this alternator bearing is going out, which kind of makes sense because things are pressed up against the alternator. So that just means we might have to buy a new alternator or get an alternator from somewhere, some way. Guys, so that whole montage was, well, not something I expected to do today. Let me explain what's going on. So here I have the motor. I've taped up a lot of sections of it to try to keep anything from coming in there. And as you can see, it's really wet. If we peek under the car, we had a leak. So I was getting the car ready. I was checking faults, codes. We were all good. All the faults were cleared. And I was getting ready to take it for a test drive. And so I went ahead, I turned the car off, I let it cool down, and then I wanted to top off the coolant because it wasn't full and I couldn't see it in the pipe. So I went ahead and started topping off coolant, and all of a sudden I start hearing it hit the manifold down here, like a dripping noise, and I was kind of confused, and it just kept going and going and going. And I mean, at this point I'm thinking maybe the block got cracked, maybe, who knows, like I was down in the dumps. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what was happening. But here's the deal. So on this car, in order to get coolant in, there's this pipe here, and the coolant goes in here, and then it travels along here, and then this connects to the engine, and this is how it gets into the engine. Obviously there's hoses that route at other places, like the throttle body and a couple other places. So what was happening was this was cracked and all the coolant was leaking out. So it would leak out to right where it was full in the motor, but the throttle body and some of the other things were not actually getting coolant, which is why it kind of smelled a little hot. Very good that I probably didn't run the car very long. And so when I took this apart, I found that this was slightly cracked here. And so, well, I had to continue taking apart the rest of the car. And if we look in here, as you can see, I mean, the car it's seen better days. But hopefully, fingers crossed, all we got to do is order a new one of these, get that installed, get all the pipes plugged in, everything else, and then we can fill it up with coolant, and then we should see this pipe fill up. Now, as far as the coolant goes, I should hopefully have enough to finish filling this up. It's already got maybe a gallon in it. I'm just gonna say this whole jug here was a waste. But so next steps is to go ahead and get this new piece ordered, and we'll see what happens. Now, on the bright side, what I do have to look forward to is, because of that, we did find out something else. The alternator, which as y'all saw earlier, I was talking about a noise, and if we listen, and what I think happened was on impact, this got hit in and jolted, and it broke something inside the alternator while it was spinning. So we will have to get a new one of these as well, but while that is expensive, at least we're gonna go ahead and get that replaced. So these are our two parts that need to be replaced that we were having issues with, and then mechanically the car should be pretty sound. All right, and there we go. So here's our two parts that we ordered. This should be our coolant feeder, and this here should be our alternator. Second piece is our alternator, and if we spin it, we hear that it spins silent. All right, now that we got our parts, it's time to get them installed in here. Alright guys, and we're back. So, quick little montage, and we are back together. I went ahead and ran it up to a temp a couple times. I had a bunch of smoke coming off the exhaust manifold from the coolant sitting on it, but otherwise we're pretty good. And what that means is we put the headlight on so we could see, but it's time to, well, just back it down the driveway and back it back in, make sure everything's good to go and that we're rolling, everything's good. I went ahead and checked the faults. We got no faults at all except for the airbag fault. So the only things we have left are airbags and obviously the body, which I did cave. I went ahead and bought another fender. So I got a brand new fender coming. I'm still looking for a bumper and I'm still looking for a hood. But other than that, we're doing pretty good. So let me go ahead and get this bad boy lowered down and then we'll just go ahead and see how it drives. Well guys, as you can see, the GR86 is out of the garage, which means we successfully started it, and I gotta say, we successfully at least moved it. Let's just say that. I didn't notice any issues with it. So far everything sounded like it's running good. We had some smoke come off because there was some coolant that was kind of draining off of the manifold and kind of overheated, and it kind of smelled like burned coolant a little bit, but that's okay. Anyways, I gotta go ahead and get it back pulled into the garage, but the good news is we got a running driving car. And as you can see, we got the Type R and the GR86. Now obviously it still has a long way to go. We need to get headlights, which I'm working on, and then I need a front bumper. We have a wing coming, and then the airbags. We have most of that stuff coming. Just gotta find one for the steering wheel, and then we'll pretty much be good to go. Now, for the rest of, well, the rebuild, it's really just going to be waiting on parts. There's not a lot of figuring out what's wrong, what's broken, etc. It's more so just waiting on all the parts to come and then going that way. Now, I will say, when the parts do get here and we get everything on and get it inspected, we have two options, which I'm not really quite sure what I want to do. Option A is to go ahead, take the car to a body shop, have them fix everything, go ahead, get it painted for however much they're going to charge. That's option one. Now option two is to go ahead and I get to try my hand at wrapping a car. Now I've never done it before, so it's going to be a learning experience, and it'll probably just turn out kind of bad, or I'll just waste a lot of vinyl in the process. But that's option two. So of those two options, I'm kind of in the middle. Don't really know which one I want to do, but I do know the car is going to be mismatched colors, so we're going to have to figure out something to do with that so it doesn't look like we're driving a collage down the road. Anyways guys, I know this video is a little bit shorter than normal. It was really just a lot of waiting on parts, but now that they're all here and we got it going, now we can actually make some pretty cool progress on the car. The next things that I'm gonna have to do is go ahead and try to get most of this cleared out, get these listed, get the fender wells on, crash bar on, and then we have this bumper support piece here that also needs to go on. Now apart from that, we also have lots of other parts to go on as well. A lot of these parts include these sort of pieces that kind of go on the front bumper when it gets here. Anyways guys, I hope you're as excited as I am that the car's finally running, driving. We got it down the road. Once we get it registered, we'll go ahead and be able to take it for its first drive, which, as bad as it was, that first video with the Type R with a POV, we'll try to do something similar, but instead maybe mount the GoPro in a better position so it's not so bouncy on my head. Anyways, guys, if you like the content, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. More is on the way. And if you like the video, go ahead and hit that like button while you're down there too. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. See you later.